Hello. So, welcome to day 23 of my honey advent. And I am over the moon to actually have Natasha Lyon here with me. And she is one of my very, very special bee honey sisters. So, to have her here, and I know she has an exhibition or an opening tonight. So, Natasha, welcome.
Thank you very much, Paula, all the way from sunny South Africa. I'm sorry to rub that in. It really is a real privilege to be here and to share one of our many amazing honeys from South Africa with you. So thank you for the opportunity.
Oh, wonderful. Now because I've got a lovely selection of your honeys, and I picked this one because I remember you saying how special it is. So I will let you pronounce it and talk about it because you are the expert with this honey.
Well, it's a honey that's very dear to my heart. It is a speciality honey or monofloral, a bouquenote. So the bouquenote tree is also sometimes referred to as the African beechwood, and it's not to be confused with the Cape bouquenote. So it's actually two different trees. And Paula, the reason, so this tree, there are many of these trees in our northwest province, further all the way up to Zimbabwe, throughout Africa, they're scattered. But what makes the honey really special is that when these little flowers bloom, and they are actually tiny little flowers, and that's what I love about the bucana tree, because it reminds us that, in the beginning when I started this journey, I thought that, flowers that are big are the ones that give lots of nectar. And as we know now, often it's a tiny little flower. So it's on like a type of a almost like I don't know if you're familiar with a bottle brush.
Mm.
It's one of the industries, but it's got like a bottle brush shape, but it's green, a lot smaller. And then around it is like hundreds of little spikes with tiny flowers on. But what makes this unique is that we need quite a lot of rain the year before in a certain time frame in order for the bucanote to flower before anything else in that area, so that we have a unifloral or a monofloral. So you'll find that the apiaries and the hives in these areas often have bucanote nectar, but technically it really is a multiflora. So the one that you're holding there was one of those exciting years that we managed to get a monofloral that is definitive bucanote.
Wow. And it is amazing. I mean, when I took off the lid and oh my word. Oh,
Do you still get some coffee notes there, or has
yes.
that? Because over time, as it ages, when the definitive descriptor of this honey is it's coffee beans, and then it goes into maltiness. It's dark. You get sometimes a bit of white chocolate on the palate, but it's that malty, complex forest floor, and then it goes into like a molassesy, sort of caramel notes. But as it ages, it pronounces more the molassesy, and that definitive intense coffee aroma subsides a little bit.
No, this is amazing. It is really strong coffee. And actually, the beans, when you get the coffee beans and you dip them in chocolate, but when you bite on the coffee bean, you've got that bean. That's what it smells.
100% spot on. It is burnt coffee bean aroma. And I think that sample, or that jar that you've got, in fact, Teresa from Brazil calls it the cappuccino honey from South Africa. Because when we did our course together, I had these little samples. But I think, Paula, that's as far back as 2022 harvest.
I think it is.
And it's
Yeah.
and it is still that intense, either 2021 or 2022. I can't remember actually.
Probably
I've got a
22.
latest.
You came over for Chelsea Flower Show, and that was 23. And I think you brought them.
That's it from the previous harvest. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, I just remembered now. I think in my cupboard I've still got. Um, oh no, that's buffalo thorn, or is it buchanut? Hang on, now I'm curious. Will you excuse me for a minute? Because now I need to see. Sorry. Yeah, it is. Yes. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I've still got one from the previous.
Oh,
Now, have yours also formed like a little syrup liquid at the top?
yes.
Yeah, so it does that. So that is definitive of it. My gosh, I can't even keep this lid to get the lid open. Um, And it actually is one of the traits of this honey. It excretes the moisture. And then you've got the moisture layer at the top. And often when that happens, we know, the natural yeasts that the bees bring in from the botany, etc. And the sugar triggers that fermentation process. But my honey, the last one that I opened from that bat, it still has not quite fermented. You get a little bit of mustiness on the nose, but most honeys by that time would properly ferment, especially with a layer of moisture at the top.
Yeah. No, I'm quite relieved. It seems that I stored it well.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And so I managed to pick up. I just was out and about with my family a couple of months ago, and this jar here, it's one of our beekeepers here in Johannesburg, and I saw, oh, Boekenhout. So I haven't been able to find a Boekenhout for some time. Um, but unfortunately, it had such a big harvest that it granulates. So the Buchenhout granulates in non-homogeneous crystals. So, some of these honeys that's high in glucose granulate in this beautiful, pasty, tiny little minuscule crystals that's evenly spread on the palate. They're all homogeneous and it's quite pleasant. It's like pasty. The Bucanote is nothing like that. It granulates in non-homogeneous crystals with, as we can see, the watery, syrupy bit at the top. And then after the soluble crystals disappear, you're left with quite sharp-edged, grainy, sugary crystals, which is, unpleasant on the palate. But it's definitive of how a monofloral bucanote granulates naturally. But yeah, unfortunately, this beekeeper had to heat it. See if I can show you the color. It's
Oh,
like a medium amber, and you can see the jar is quite dark, but when you lift it up, it is a medium amber. Um,
yes,
yeah,
this
but
one
it
is
is,
creamier.
yeah, that one, and I think you will have different crystals in that one.
Yeah, it is. You're right. It's quite granular. It is sort of sandy.
Yes.
I'll just see how.
Yeah, quite grainy. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
chewy
Oh,
and
yes,
grainy.
I've got the
Yes.
red.
Yeah, it's got a bit of a red glow. But yes, so the nose is this is a very, very interesting honey. And I mean, this has been heated, so it's just pushed a bit into the caramel notes, a bit too strong for me. But I mean, it's definitive Bucanote. And some of the Bucanotes, depending on how high it is up north, I've got a bit of a bitter finish. And this apiary have actually got botany or plants and trees in the area that gives it specifically intensifies that bitterness at the end. We're not sure what it is. It could be weeds, it could be other trees, but definitively bucanote. Both the color, the aroma, the nose, and the palate.
Mm.
Yeah, it's one of
It's
our
almost,
stars. It's one of our stars.
it is, and it's quite licoricey. It is that sort of burnt
Yes.
sugar, you know, oh, it is delicious. Mm.
And it's very complex and quite moirish. It's a very satisfying honey. It's probably great to have in the winter, right?
Mm.
Drizzle over, little some pancakes maybe, or and even in your coffee. I mean, it flavors the coffee. So we've got one of our baristas in South Africa, Steve O'Keen. In fact, he's just competed recently in Italy, and he was at the World Barista competitions. But every now and then he phones me up, and they do these solo coffee barista sessions in their sort of competition, I suppose. And the one year he paired a citrus because he had coffee beans from Kenya that had that citrusy nose. And I contacted him up and said, "Listen, it's time that we need to now pair the Bucanote with all those
Oh,
beautiful different coffee beans."
oh, no, it is an amazing honey. And I did read somewhere that the Bucanote's honey traditionally would be used for wound healing.
Yes, it is very good for wound healing. Quite a few of our honeys, Paula, from the African bush. I mean, if I think of buffalo thorn, Excellent, excellent for wound healing. Of course, we know now that all fresh honey have got, some of that wound healing activity. Um, but the Bucana, definitely the buffalo thorn, are both excellent. And a lot of our multifloras actually are excellent for wound healing. But as they age, the potency of those healing, because your HMF goes up and the diastase, all of that changes. So that diminishes over time. Your fresh honeys is the best, and the buccanut also, some of the bark is quite high in tannins. So traditionally they would use that to color leather, etc. And the roots would be boiled for stomach ailments, nausea, even period pains. So it's an indigenous tree to South Africa and Africa, and it's been used for all kinds of, sort of natural healing, um,
Mm.
practices as well.
Oh, it's wonderful. So, would you like to share? Because this recording will go out in the group. Um, what it is that you're doing tonight? So, I believe you have a reception. You have an event.
It's actually more for family and friends, Paula.
All right.
So, but I will share with you. We had just before this, we two two sort of amazing functions that we had. The one was for WWF, and we're actually doing it in 3 sets. It was for their legacy members, and we had a honey tasting, but a lot of emphasis was on the importance of the bee diversity and planting for pollinators. So that was a very interesting audience because, a lot of my work that I do, my heart really is in education, to speak to the end user, the consumer, and say, well, why are we heating our honey? People say, oh, but how do I, return my honey from granulated to liquid? And I say, well, why do you want to do that? It's a bit of a curveball. Obviously, the squeezy bottles, and when we're all in a hurry, and mom in the mornings, and the kids are off to school, it's a convenience thing, but it really, our honey should be savored in the natural state that they granulate. So a lot of the work that I do is to showcase South Africa's honey and a tasting. But the WWF was quite um, different in that my audience was very educated on conservation already. So yeah, we're having 3 sessions. One was in Joburg, the other one in Cape Town, and the third one is in Durban next year, which was wonderful. And then we did a 6-year Lion Raw celebration. Um, we got in a very talented chef. I actually met him years ago, and we did little mini honey bars. So we lined up all the honeys, and I mean, there's so many of the students in our group, or all these qualified chefs that people are working with, that's doing amazing things. I really think that people are starting to view honey for what it is. It's perhaps the only slow food that is still entirely created by nature, and there's definitely a momentum. So I get very excited to see the work that's done by our colleagues internationally. It's
Oh.
it's a it's a privilege to be part of all of this at this time.
Well, and it's so exciting because you were the first person to start this journey in Africa, not even South Africa, but in Africa. And so for you to have worked through, you've just done so much for highlighting the honeys of Africa and the world, bringing the world honeys to the Africans as well. I mean, just
Yeah,
incredible work.
and no, thank you, Paula. It's just a tip of the iceberg. And Madvi, there's now quite a few students in Africa. It's still, you know, we are still waiting to get more honey sensory analysts to level 3, so that we can have a panel, um, and that's very exciting. But Madvi's doing amazing work, and there's a few other colleagues. We've got a colleague, Meryl. She's from Cape Town, but she's currently in Dubai. So yeah, great things are beginning to happen. But I must tell you a funny story. When the very first time I went over, or was it level 2? I think yes. I thought, okay, I need to take these honeys, right? Because level 1, I realized we need to all like have little samples. and I could not decide. It was trying to choose like your favorite child to go on holiday
Yeah.
with you. And I remember in class, I was unpacking, my little jars that I decanted. And eventually, Raphael sort of stopped me in a very gentleman-like way and said, this was after 6 jars. He said, I think that's enough, Natasha. So, how many more have you got there? I'm like another 9. So yeah, I was a bit over enthusiastic, but I always look back at that. What was I thinking? But that is truly, I tell you, Paula, the honeys in South Africa and in Africa is mind blowing. We've got 9 different biomes. We've got forest, we've got desert, we've got the Cape Floristic region, which you can't find anywhere else in the world. We've got over 700 different Erica species. So those honeys that ideally actually is, or not ideally, but technically are multifloras, we have to profile them by region. So there's so much work to be done in South Africa, and I mean, people are phoning me when they taste these honeys from all over the world. It's just I don't export right now because the quantities that I curate is so small because I focus on those Louis Vuitton, sort of rare blue moon harvests, so that I can show the end user how diverse the honey is in South Africa. Yeah,
Oh,
so.
no, amazing, incredible work. Now I know you have to go. Claire, do you have any questions that you'd like to ask Natasha?
No, I was just amazed that at the thought that you could actually get a honey coming out of a desert. I mean, do the flowers not bloom for very long, after a rain or something like that? I'm just fascinated by that.
Yes. So clear in across the 9 different biomes, that's split between forest, very dry sort of desert in Namakwa land, which is Renosterveld. Yes, sometimes there's flowers that after 7 years, all of a sudden it flowers. The honey we tasted tonight is from the African bushveld. So if you imagine what you would see on TV with a big 5 and running through the bush, that's the landscape that this honey is from.
That's very
But yes, we've got coastal areas. Sorry, yes.
just said that sounds very special.
Yes, no, we've got such diversity, such incredible diversity, and yeah, that's what makes it complex. Also, our wine and our olive oil, it's the taste of the terroir. It's so diverse from one region to the next. It's very exciting. Our honeys are like mental. I'm being a bit patriotic, but yes, it's my wish that we could hopefully, run a course in Cape Town in 2027. We're working on that, fingers crossed.
Oh, if anyone can do it, it'll be you.
Oh, no, thank you. But Paula, thank you so much. And I still need to catch up quite a few advents. So it goes like this. Was it one more day? What's your last honey tomorrow?
Well, it's mine. But, I shared it. I did a little box, with 2 honeys in that I could send out so we could have group tastings. So we did the Dorset Bell Heather on Sunday, and then we're gonna do my honey tomorrow. So, yeah, so then we
Oh,
can
brilliant.
we can all taste together, which will be great.
Oh, brilliant. Claire, I'm sure you've loved following Paula's tasting. She's so knowledgeable.
Yes, yes. There's some fascinating stories as well.
No, we've had some great guests on as well who've been sharing their honeys. So it's been a really lovely one. And, as you know, Natasha, I've been doing it for a few years, but yeah, it's been really enjoyable this time. And this platform school is just so easy, as you found, just to
Yes.
join, you just click and join. So it's great. So we can be doing more. So you're going to have to come back and do a Q&A with the members in here.
And I'd love to. Thank you for the invitation and nice to meet you virtually, Claire. And yeah, hopefully many, many people will knock on your door for more interviews and share their stories. It's a great platform, Paula.
Oh,
Well
well, thank
done.
you very much. So I will say goodbye now. So thank you, Natasha, and have a wonderful evening and a wonderful, wonderful Christmas.
Thank you, Paula, and to you and all your people watching. But yeah, God bless and have a wonderful festive season. Cheers. Thank you.